Welcome to 1530. This is episode 23. Today we're going to be discussing the ATP World Tour Finals. So the season's coming to a close. For most of the players, they're actually done playing for the year. However, the top 8 seeds, the top 8 ranked players in the world are in London battling it out for supremacy. So we'll talk about the results of those matches and how it's actually a pretty exciting format. The group format and the top 2 from each group make it to the semifinals. We'll discuss that. We'll also discuss, it's been a while since we've recorded, so we'll talk about some of the tournaments we've missed since the US Open, the Asian court swing happened, as well as some of the indoor courts, indoor season in Europe. So we'll discuss the results, who's playing some really good tennis, who's looking hot, and who is ending the season kind of on a bad note, or maybe isn't as good on the indoor courts. And we'll talk about what it takes to be good at indoor tennis. And my name is Ben.
I'm Matt, and I'll get you started off with the start of the day today, and that's going to be 80%. That's the first serve win percentage for Roger Federer in his win over Novak Djokovic in that Nitto ATP Tour final. That's really high, especially compared to Djokovic's 56% first serve points won. So probably a huge indicator or a huge key to that match, right? Fed took it straight sets and seemingly pretty handy, pretty quick. Probably due to being able to finish those points off and serving well in that first serve. What are your thoughts on it, Ben?
Yeah, it's just incredible. It's the best start and the best possible scenario that Federer could have. And I was wondering what he would do tactically. I was wondering, Wimbledon, obviously he was aggressive, but he also, when they got into rallies, Federer used a lot of the slice, kept it long, probing, Djokovic kind of waiting for him to make an error. This one was all attack mode. When he did get a backhand, he popped it up the line, usually for a winner. Of course, he was usually looking for that serve and forehand combination. So really almost felt like it was faster than the grass, which is interesting. Or even Paris, they played on the indoor court. I believe it was last year or the year before. Same thing. Federer was never broken but lost the match, but he played a lot of those slicing, kind of those long slices instead of being as aggressive on the backhand side. So it was amazing. It was fast match, and it was your perfect attacking tennis. So best scenario for Roger Federer. Really how you want to play on the indoors. Indoors allows for that fast-paced game, and Federer really showed his strengths today.
Do courts play faster, Ben, on indoor courts?
Usually it depends on the court. London is playing exceptionally fast. Generally, yes. The other advantage you have is you have it's more of a controlled environment, right? You have less of the wind. You can be more precise, like the atmosphere is more controlled. And so Federer's always talked about it suited his game. He's able to attack, take the cuts of the ball that he wants to, as opposed to the outdoor court, which is a slightly different feel. And it's interesting, if you want to look at the comparison to games, you look at Rafael Nadal, been exceptional on outdoor hard courts, but indoors he's really kind of struggled really throughout his whole career, which is interesting. He's never won the ATP World Tour Finals. We'll see what happens tomorrow if he can win to stay or to get out of the group round into the semis. But he's made a couple finals, but he's usually lost pretty badly in straight sets to Federer and Djokovic, whoever he's played.
Yeah, he has a rough time for sure. I think
so. We'll see. Yeah,
bad timing in the year. You know, he's worn out, tired from the whole season. I think that's everybody, though, right? Especially these big three as they get older.
And I think sometimes just the topspin too just doesn't quite do it. It kind of sits up a little bit. I said, the speed of the courts just doesn't suit the game. Maybe if he flattens some stuff out, he could make some adjustments. But it doesn't seem like he has that attacking mode. Zverev took it to him. It reminded me of the Federer match against Djokovic. Zverev was hitting a big serve. Right after that, usually for him, it's kind of his backhand, I feel like, is the better shot. But he was just finding these huge shots up the line, on the line too, right? Like these shots were so deep, Rafa really didn't have much of a chance to even if he returned it, Zverev was right on it. So we'll see if Tsitsipas plays him kind of the same way. He's been playing some attacking all-court tennis. That's fun to watch, but never count Rafa out, and we'll talk later about why you can never count that guy out. He's such a competitor. Doesn't matter the surface, really. He fights for every point.
Yeah, that's interesting going to that Zverev match. Just real quick. Sorry, I'm bouncing around a bunch.
Yeah, go for it.
But yeah, Rafa Rafa never even had a break chance in that game. He faced 4 himself and only saved 1, but never even had an opportunity to break Zverev. So, and granted, Zverev was serving 88. Well, he won 88% of his first serves, but he was only getting 69% of his first serves in. But still an impressive stat, right, for Alex to be able to keep such good control of his service game, to not ever face really any pressure and allow him to keep the attack, on Rafa and on his serve. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Super fascinating. Let's see. So I guess just going back to the Federer match here, looking at some of these other numbers, 12 aces to 2 for Roger compared to Novak. Again, he needed to have a good serving day to beat Djokovic, and he had that right from the start. A lot of aces, he would get up, it'd be set point or it'd be game point up 40-love, and you're like, what's going to happen? And then instead of Djokovic clawing back like he has before and broken, and even though you have that lead at 40-love, Federer put him away with an ace. And so I think just that aggressive serving kept Novak on his heels, and he's one of the best returners of all time. So 12 aces were well deserved by Roger today. He was really feeling that serve, and he was hitting those spots. Let's look at, so you mentioned 80%. Well, we can also talk second serve. He didn't hit very many of them since his first serve percentage was so high, but he won 69% of them. That's way above his career average for that. Usually he's around the 50s. The high 50 mark would be good for him. Djokovic, on the other hand, was 43%. So didn't matter first serve, second serve. There was even a second serve that Roger hit that was a nice second serve that was a high kick, and it even ended up being an ace because of the angle for it. So just everything was working for Federer today. He was feeling it. And some of those, you have those days and you're just a little bit too good, and that's what Roger was today.
Yeah.
Let's see on the returns. I guess it looks like even on the return side, he was pretty solid. He won 43% of Djokovic's first serve points, which again, remember Roger won 80% of his, meaning Djokovic only had 20% first serve return points in the second serve. Was also very good, 56% for Federer. So Federer was able to save that one break point that he had. It was a pretty good rally, but he put the ball in the corner away, and Djokovic could barely get it, and then he put it away at the net. So just, again, he's kind of painting the lines, which is great. So overall, it was straight sets. It wasn't really that close, and the total score showed it. Federer won 60% of the points. So domination by him. We'll see if he can keep it up. He probably will be one of the favorites, but with Nadal or Tsitsipas, I don't know how heavy the favorite will be. And team's also playing exceptional. So
yeah, team's playing well. I'm curious to see how Tsitsipas does, if he can maintain. I feel like he's playing real good tennis over in his side of the bracket in the round robin. So that'll be interesting to see how he plays against him.
Yeah, he's been fun. And like I said, with that. Exactly what I was going to say. And even more so, I feel like he can even do a more all-court tennis than Federer, too. He goes to the net quite a bit, and it's been very successful against Zverev. He beat him in straight sets. He beat Medvedev for the first time. I didn't realize that. He was 0-5 against Medvedev. Yeah. Came out, beat him in straights. Yeah, there's a lot of history there. Good point. But he beat him in straights. So, Medvedev's game is clearly working. We know Zverev, like you said, this is one of his tournaments. He won last year. He plays very well on this court. Tsitsipas is also very comfortable here from what I've watched. So we'll see what he can do against Nadal. He's never beaten Nadal on a hard court, clay court, anything. So we'll see if how Tsitsipas can do. But he's beaten Djokovic several times. He's beaten Federer, at least the one time that I know of in Australia. Yeah. So he's looking good.
Yeah, that'll be
definitely looking good.
A good match tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Even though I guess he's already through, but just I guess to see him against Rafa, it's a good measuring stick for him, regardless. So let's see. So what's the next match you want to talk about in these finals?
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's see.
Yeah, so I guess we can go right into the Djokovic team while we're still talking about Djokovic here and how he did. This was a pretty close match. Despite team getting the victory, the points, it was pretty razor thin. Overall, it was one of those kind of toss-up matches where Djokovic won 49% of the points, or about 50% of the points, and team won about 50%. So it was almost even. The total points, yeah, I guess it was 108 to 110, so they were rounding it there. So Djokovic won 2 less points, yeah. But still, it was pretty dang amazing there. Let's look at their serve numbers here. So looks like they kind of split it. Djokovic was more effective on the first serve, 72% to Team 67, but Team was a little bit more effective on the second serve, and he hit quite a few second serves. His first serve percentage wasn't very high; it was only 56%. So those second serves, he was just able to keep it alive there. Djokovic mentioned after the match, he said it was amazing how hard Team was hitting the ball. He's like, he felt like every point he was crushing it, and he really kind of was. He was being very aggressive, hitting the ball very, very deep, and they were pretty much all going in. At least that's what Djokovic felt, especially when he ended up losing it in that third set tiebreak. And Djokovic has been exceptional in tiebreaks all year long, and so it's pretty surprising to see him lose that decisive tiebreak.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment. I feel like that's been said about Team maybe in the French Open. I feel like somebody else has, or even maybe multiple people have said he just really hits the ball. He has just an impressive amount of power behind his shots. Kind of like Wawrinka with his forehand. He can just power through it.
Yeah, Wawrinka's amazing with that. I agree. Let's see if there's anything else interesting here. Yeah, Team, I mean, rock solid on the break points. Every chance that he had, he broke Novak. So it just showed he was not afraid to go for it, and his shots were going in. He was 4 for 4 on those break chance opportunities. Even though Team, it ultimately went down to a tiebreaker in the third, he still, in the second set, got Djokovic pretty good with the breaks there, with the single break, I guess, in that set. On the return side of things, Djokovic was pretty good, but ultimately not good enough on those return points. So it looks like total return points, Djokovic was 45%, Team was 44%. So pretty much identical. And even the service points are pretty much identical. So it kind of came to a pick 'em. Who was more clutch in the moment? Djokovic was more clutch at Wimbledon this year, but Team's been clutch against Djokovic pretty much all year, right? You mentioned the French Open. They had a really tough semifinal. It was 5 sets. Team came out winner. Here they had a pretty tough 3-setter. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Team came out winner. So it seems like he kind of finds that clutch gear against Novak that would really help if he found it against Nadal at the front. And he could win a title there. We'll see. He's such a good clay quarter, but Nadal is better.
Yeah, he'll break that wall down at some point. It'll happen.
Yeah.
Just glad it hasn't yet.
Yeah, how many Frenches does Nadal have? That's what they were saying about today. Was it 11 or 12? 11. I can't remember. 11.
Was this his 12th? No, I think this was his 11th.
Yeah. Amazing how many French Opens.
Yeah. Tomato, right? That's a lot of French Opens.
Jeez, that's amazing. Oh, it is 12. Okay, so double check that this year 12. Yeah, right. Oh, jeez. Okay, so as far as ATP World Tour Finals, let's see. Let's go on to the next match. We kind of mentioned a little bit of the Nadal Zverev match. Any other comments about that match?
Nope. No, yeah. Other than, Zverev was in control the whole time.
Yep, no break points. You mentioned that one. First serve, wow, that's pretty bad. The first serve return points for Nadal, 11%. I don't think you see numbers like that. That's a pretty bad number. So Zverev was hitting, over-scrolled there, is it 88%, 89%. That's amazing first serve percent. Better than in Federer, we were allotting 80%.
Yeah.
Zverev's hitting 89% on that. That's incredible. And his first serve percentage was relatively high as well, so he didn't have to hit a lot of second serves, even though his percentage was in the 40s. Not where you want it, but didn't matter. The first serve was so effective.
Seriously.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat there. Nadal. Yeah, I was able to save the one of the break points, but the other 3. And 11 aces again, remember, so similar to Fed's numbers there. So you can kind of see a little bit of a mirror on even though their game styles quite a bit different as far as Zverev maybe not going to the net with the effectiveness of Federer, but they're finding the ace number, and they're both finding a very effective way to win on their first serve, even if they win it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that'll continue to be a theme throughout this tournament. All right, so we mentioned Nadal's amazing comeback. I'll let you, as a Rafa fan, you can talk about your thoughts on that match and what were the stakes there? What was happening?
Yeah. No, I need to go back and watch this match. I have not watched it, but Yeah, so the year-end number one's on the line, right? Between Joke and Rafa. I don't know how many points. It's in the hundreds,
Yeah.
not thousands. That Joke was behind Rafa to take the number one seed or number one spot. Anyway, I think you get like 200 points a win. Rafa found himself down 5-love or 5-1 at one point.
Yeah.
Fought off match point against Medvedev and came back and won it. So pretty impressive. He said after the match something to the effect of, that's a 1 in 1,000 chance of happening. He said, I was expecting to be in the locker room in 5 minutes with a loss, not going forward. But he pulled out the W, and since Joke lost, he's out. He can't make it out of the round robin. So Rafa has locked in that one seed, or that number one ranking, year-end ranking. So pretty impressive feat for somebody of his age.
Yeah, it's amazing.
His health issues. So
yeah, no, really. It's incredible. Yeah, so just some more thoughts on that match. I mean, of course, we could talk about how Medvedev has made so many finals. He's played so many tournaments. He's been gassed, but he still was in the driver's seat 5-1 and gave that away. So looking at the numbers here, overall total points, it was another one of these very, very close matches where it's 50-50, it looked like, on the points. So pretty much whoever was more clutch. Medvedev had 21 aces to Nadal's 4. Pretty amazing. He won 75% of his first serves points, and Nadal was 72%. So very similar there. I think where it came down to second serve points, Nadal was 5% better, 57% to 52. Though Medvedev saved 5 break points and Nadal saved 4. So there's some clutch play all around, but I think Nadal was just a little bit better with that second serve. There was definitely some more rallies involved. I think that Nadal was just able to turn his way, I guess. And then on the return side of things, yeah, again, pretty similar numbers. The break points, yeah, Nadal's 10% better at getting those. Yeah, so it just comes down to those clutch moments in that third set. It was getting away from him, and Nadal, I think the comment was made, right, that he was just thinking, I could be 5 minutes away from going to the locker room, but instead, just like he always does, he ground out every point. He grinded it out and played every point, and before he knew it, he was down only 1 break, and then the pressure, I guess, mounted on Medvedev. So yeah, amazing match. He did say it's like 1 in 1,000 chance to come back from a 5-1 in the third, but I wonder what the actual numbers are. We were discussing that, how to access that data, but
yeah, we'll see if we can get that put together. Might be difficult.
Amazing though. Amazing
from
Nadal.
And that's what you hear, right? I mean, everybody that it has to play Nadal, that's always one of their comments. The guy fights for every point. I mean, he's down 5-1. You can just say, all right, this match is done. Let's go home. Let's be done. It's over. But yeah, I mean, he keeps fighting. I don't know. I'm sure every other player gonna fight as well, but Rafa especially is a pretty determined individual, I think.
Yeah.
So super impressive. It's great. Great win.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Going into another player, he's kind of disappointed here at the ATP World Tour Finals here at the end of the year. He barely made it. So Berrettini was in Federer's group. He lost to both Federer and Djokovic. He actually beat Thiem, oddly enough, today. So matchups are kind of a weird thing. He beat him in straight sets too. But just wanted to talk about matchups, I guess, and how those players roll. With Berrettini, he's a really, really tall dude, and he has a booming serve. In the 130s is not uncommon for him. But it's just amazing to see how he can cover the court. Some of these bigger dudes maybe not so good at covering the court, but he's able to cover the court really well, and also has some nice variety. With that big serve, a lot of times people expect, right after that serve, he's going to smash this forehand. And instead, sometimes he does these little slice drop shots with the forehand, which, you usually see that more from the backhand. So kind of an interesting game. Very surprised, though. I mean, I didn't even really know about him until this year. He's had a great year. And so even though he's kind of disappointed, he's out of the group round. He's not going to move on. Still really impressed with the young man's game. Talk a little bit about some of those stats. He's 6'5", I guess, to to throw that in there. He's ranked number 8 in the world, and obviously the Italian. So we can talk about a little bit of the stats when he beat Team today. So 85% first serve points won, which makes sense based on that booming serve, and 67% on the second serve. So significantly better than Team in both regards. Team was not rating his serve that well today. So overall, he was able to win pretty easily. 80% of the points were his, 57% of the points were his compared to 43% for Team. So yeah, just really impressed with his movement and how he's able to do well on the return. You look at the return points won, he was able to win 34% return points. So not maybe a Djokovic number and a Nadal number, but that's nothing to sneeze at compared to Team, who only won 20% return points. So significantly better on return. Again, just impressed with this young guy. He's beaten guys like Raonic. In Shanghai, he beat Team. He's just had some great runs. And so we'll see if he's a fluke or if he's going to play good next year. Because, again, I really didn't see him being a top 10 player. Didn't know who he was until he played Fed at Wimbledon. So
yeah, absolutely. It's kind of interesting. So looking at his ranking, at the start of 2017, so I guess 3 years ago, if you consider we're almost at the start of 2020, he was 435th in the world. So in the year from 2017 to 2018, at the beginning of 2018, he had already gone up to 135, which I don't know. I feel like if you have like just a couple key wins, you can, and at this level or in the rankings, you can get up pretty fast. But yeah, so he went from 430 to 135-ish. And then the beginning of this year, he was 54th. And then now, yeah, he finds himself at 8th in these in the World Tour Finals. So quite an impressive climbing right there.
yeah, especially when we, back in like March when Shapovalov was making the quarters or semis in Miami. I can't remember. I think it was semis. Everyone's thinking Shapovalov. He's 15, right? Nishikori with injuries dropped to 13. Guys like Goffin, who have been amazing, who made the tournament last year, are not in it. So just, yeah, a lot of other guys we thought would have been in there as opposed to him, or Hachinov, who won Paris last year, Alex de Minaur. Yeah, so a lot of guys that we thought, would have good years, but they just haven't quite followed up there. And Berrettini's had the more consistent results. So he deserves to be here. Unfortunately, won't be moving on, but hope to see more of the Italian. He's got a pretty fun game. So
certainly a good experience for him.
Definitely.
Hopefully he can build on it.
Yeah, and another thing I looked up here too, so interested in looking at Federer. I feel like he's had a pretty amazing indoor hardcourt season this year. So he won Basel. I believe it was his 10th title. He got pretty emotional winning that one. Great to see him win that. And he opted not to play Paris just so he could rest his body. And now he's in the ATP World Tour Finals here now. So this doesn't cover through the ATP World Tour Finals since he does have a loss to Team. However, the stats I'm looking at cover through Basel. So obviously 100% win percentage through Basel, but this is comparing to the rest of his career. So just show you how well he was playing at Basel. So he's acing. He aced at Basel 3% more of the time. So instead of 11%, he aced 14%. So small, but aces, allow you to be more dominant on those service games. He first serve percentage points won were pretty similar. It's like 0.5%, so not much of a change, around 79%. So again, close to 80% that he beat Djokovic today with. So maybe not a fluke. He's consistently performing on the indoor courts. Second serve, 59% career indoors and 62% this year in Basel. And again, 58%, that's definitely higher than his normal hard court or any other surface. So he just does serve better indoors, it seems, for the speed or the controlled conditions, whatever you want to say there. And then break points saved. He's saved 6% more break points this year than normal. It's 75% break point saving percentage. And so overall, out of that, he's winning a 1.5% more service games or service points, and service games, he's winning almost 5.5% more service games. So pretty amazing on the return. It looks like he's doing a lot better as well. I won't go through the numbers here as much, but both first and second serve points won, about 8% better on each. So overall, he's winning 15% more matches than his career average. And his matches, which I think is also interesting, the match time is 31 minutes shorter. So his normal match time indoors is an hour 36. Most of them probably over 3 sets, since there's no Grand Slam, obviously. And then it's an hour and 5 minutes this year is what he's been averaging. So very tidy, very quick on the court. Kind of reminds me of today, the Djokovic match today. He's playing efficient. So if he can continue to back up the rest of his numbers that he has been playing in Basel this year, I think he's going to be pretty hard to beat. So we'll see. But then again, he came out flat against Thiem in that first match. So hopefully we don't get a rusty Federer is what I'm hoping for.
Hopefully not. I want some good tennis.
Yeah.
And I don't care anymore. Rafa's got that #1 ranking, so.
Yeah, he does. He's got it secured, which is
if he's
amazing.
smart, he'll just lose and get out in the round robin so that he can rest up for the Aussie Open without catching a bunch of flack for saying he's injured or something.
Yeah. The only thing would be if he I feel like he would be motivated if he does make it out of the group stage, because then he's never won this tournament. It's kind of one of the few knocks against him for
that's true.
Greatest of all time, but Federer's won this 6 times. Joke's won it 5. So maybe Federer will want to push it to 7 to have some space between him and Joke. But if Nadal could win it, he could kind of silence the critics. So no, he can also win on indoors when he's healthy and when he puts his mind to it. So
yeah, that's
who knows? Hidden motivation. We never know. But like you're saying, I think he'll get some sleep even if he loses, because he's the world #1. So that's amazing of itself. Let's see what else do we got as far as tennis. So we do want to talk about, even though the season's kind of wrapping up, obviously we'll talk about the next episode. Whoever wins, we'll talk about stats from those last few matches, semis and finals. And we can also talk about kind of looking forward to the new year, because we're always excited. Australian Open's always around the corner from the holiday season, so we can start looking at previews for that. But real quick, Matt, of all these young players, so you can't pick, let's say you can't pick Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic. You can pick a stock, so kind of treat it like a stock if you'd buy or sell. So pick one of these. I guess the rest would be young guys. It can be anybody in the top 10, top 100. Pick someone that you would buy or sell if they were a stock.
For
these young guys.
Performance on next year.
Performance on next year. You can even be just improving their ranking a lot, or winning slams, winning tournaments. Who would you pick? Who do you think is going to do even better?
Yeah, we did this last year, and I was all gung ho on the young guns, and they did nothing.
Which young gun? Well, okay, I'm not saying they have to win slams, but who do you think is going to get even better this year?
That's a good question. I don't know, man. For some reason, I'm super bullish on Goffin. Just really like the dude, and I feel like if he can just break through, he can be so good. I don't know why. I don't know if he counts in this.
He's not a young gun, but he's really good. I'll give you that.
He's not a young gun.
So you would buy some Goffin stock then?
For a more specific young gun, I don't know. I'd probably go cliche and say something like Tsitsipas, playing well here in the end of the year. If he can get a little more consistent, then I think he can do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I think that's good. I think that's really good. And I think I agree with the Goffin too, because I think he's better than his ranking for 11 is. So I think I'd buy that as well, because I think he could finish in the top 8 again.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. And the Tsitsipas,
poor America, right? Has
seriously.
No real anything coming up. But.
Yeah, TFO is our best shot, and he's not. I don't think he's a top guy yet, but he could be. It's hard to judge the talent. Federer said that today. He's like, you never know who's going to make it. I think he even said that. He's like, I was surprised at some of the guys this year. He said he didn't know Medvedev was have the year he would have. So,
well, in RBA, I mean, Bautista Agut, man, it's just.
Oh yeah, he's really good.
Had a crazy run, but he's not.
Yeah, let's see. Who would I buy stock-wise here? Yeah, I'd also buy Tsitsipas. He's really impressed me every time he's played Djokovic. I think he's beaten them all, but maybe the one time he played him as a winning head-to-head. Federer, he just always seems to come out guns blazing against these guys. He kind of had a bad middle part of the season, but he started amazing, right? Australian Open and Dubai and some of these other tournaments, and then he's ended really well as well. So I think I'd buy some Tsitsipas. I think he could be in those top few. even though Zverev's only ranked 7 and he's flirted with 3 or maybe even 2 before, I don't know if I feel like I should sell that Zverev stock. I just haven't seen him.
Sell it. Yeah.
I just haven't seen him break through the way he should. So
yeah. And he'll play, right? He'll have like one lead up tournament where he plays out of his mind, and he had obviously a couple good matches here in the final tournament, but he just, you feel for the guy because,
yeah, I mean, I like the guy.
So much talk, so much promise coming in, and he's just got a mental block. He needs to go talk to Isner. Isner and his coach found some way to, and I mean, obviously Isner's still not top 10, and but
he won a Masters 1000 though.
Yeah, exactly.
Miami,
he found a new level. And he talked about that. He said, I sat down with my coach one day and somehow finally figured out how to just. He said, I'm my biggest enemy on the court. He said, I finally found a way to get over that, and that's when we started seeing a lot of that success. He won that ATP 1000 and stuff, and so. Obviously that's a huge thing. And you can't quantify that with stats. We've talked about that before, but it's some of these guys I think struggle with it more than the others. And
yeah, interesting match that you bring up too, because that final in Miami was against Zverev, and he beat Zverev in 3 sets, and Zverev was the one melting down. So funny you bring that up on many levels there. But the one guy I can't really decide on is Medvedev. I feel like I should sell him because he's ranked 4. I feel like I don't know if he can make it to the top ranking without winning a slam. And I don't know if he can, but at the same time, this year was just impressive. Basically from the hard court season on, he was almost unbeatable, literally. So,
so that's the question.
I don't know. I guess I'll hold him, but I feel like that's a stock that maybe I should sell. I'm not convinced, I'd say, yet, but he had a great run.
I agree.
The big 3. I guess I'll stick with the big 3. I'll stick with the blue chip stocks there because they seem to always win.
That's right. That's your Apple and Amazon and Google stock right there.
Yeah, I guess, right? Hopefully they don't ever tank. Of course they'll retire. So
yeah, that's true.
So before then. But yeah, that's what we got here from 1530. It's been an amazing year, and we're hoping for the last few good matches to cap the year. Again, we're gonna talk more about the young guns, who we think is good. That's just kind of our little preview for who we think is gonna have a good year, and who thinks maybe not gonna live up to their ranking or potential. But yeah, until next episode, we'll see you guys on the court.